Hey, welcome to Real Talk Web Series episode 30. I'm Todd. This is Austin. And here we are. I almost said AJ again. I'm so used to saying this is AJ. So, no AJ this week. He abandoned us, as we talked about earlier. Just kidding. He's on vacation. He'll be back, I think, this weekend, is what we said.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, you'll see him on episode 31 next week. But in the meantime, I have the great pleasure and honor of introducing you to Austin, who's a good friend of ours, goes to the Remnant. Involved in everything. If you're familiar with Real Talk at all, you already know him because he's been on multiple live episodes. But this is your first web series episode.
Yep, very first one.
All right, you nervous?
Not really. Just normal conversation.
Yeah, it should be. It's weird that the camera is here though sometimes because you feel like you're playing a part because we don't have a studio audience here.
Yeah.
So it's just us and them.
Yeah, and it's
But they're
kind
not here yet.
It's kind of weird because like you see that and it feels like there's like a script you have to read or anything, but this is all just conversation.
Yeah.
This is all just non-scripted, just real.
Yeah, we don't plan a thing. So we do plan, but this is certainly not scripted. You were right. So if you're unfamiliar with Real Talk web series, it's your first time, we'll let you know what's going on. So Real Talk is just an opportunity for us to have real talk about God, the Bible, church, life, and hopefully, if nothing else, just provoke some good thought and drive you to learn more about who God is in His Word. So that's kind of our deal. And most of the time, we answer questions that people may be uncomfortable answering. In fact, up here, you're going to see a link, www.theremnant.life/real-talk. If you click that, it's going to open up a form fillable box. You can type in a question, hit submit, and boom, it's submitted completely anonymously. As we often say, could not find you if we wanted to. We have tried. Right?
Yeah, and some of the questions we get are pretty awesome. Like they're really challenging. Some of them are just like the same topic, but just different wording, which makes you think that it's different, but it's not.
That's good.
And some of them just challenge us, and we're like, okay, let's see what this one's about, and just dive right into it.
Yeah, I've been so blessed by this. That's what I think. I hope people know that that's not just talk. Get it?
Yeah.
Real talk. That I'm so blessed. I know AJ is. I know you have been. You've been here since the beginning too on the production team, which he doesn't get a lot of credit, but has done a lot behind the scenes, which is a huge deal. We're really thankful for that. But it's just been a blessing. I think there's times, man, it's almost like we know church is not just 1-2 hours a week on a Sunday. It feels like church a lot of times. Even these pre-recorded episodes, because we're talking about real things, not just fluff.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial. I know we've reached out to a lot of people through our Real Talk Live videos, like the family down in Louisiana. Like, they've just been so impactful to us, and just their family being a part of ours is just really awesome just to interact with them. And I know, like, your family down from Kentucky, like, just talking to them and friends from, like, outside of the States, even in the States.
Louisiana, Florida, Texas, California. Yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see how this all's grown. I know there's a lot of people who do stuff behind the scenes, and it's like everyone working together. Just so nice seeing everything come through and all the hard work you guys put in, you and AJ, and then everyone behind the scenes. It's just really like when you sit back and look, it's like, man, we've really done this. It doesn't seem like a lot, but from what we were versus what we are now, it's totally different.
Yeah, go watch episode 1 and you can tell the difference.
Huge difference.
You brought up a great point that would be cool to do. If you're watching this, would you do this for us? Would you go down and type your location? If you just want to put your state, you can. Or put your city. It'd be cool to see where all the people are coming from.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't need to put your actual address, but your city and state would be cool, right?
Yeah.
We'd love to see that and kind of see where everyone's at. Because, I mean, even these pre-recorded episodes would get 200 views, so that's 200 people. We'd love to know where you're from.
Yeah.
So, that being said, we typically start these out just by kind of seeing how we're doing. We've sort of ran out. We've answered the majority of the questions. 745 questions.
Crazy.
So thank you to all those that have submitted questions or topics. I encourage you to keep doing that. If nothing else, it inspires good conversation and gets us talking. But we've been doing more topical lately. If you've watched the last 2 episodes, which I think has been pretty cool. Have you caught any of those? Been able to watch any of those?
Yeah. So I didn't see last week's, but the one before.
Yeah. So those are. That's ridiculous. You didn't see it. So, but that being said, unbelievable. This production guy hasn't seen it. But that being said, I think those have been really cool too, in sort of a we've gotten a lot of feedback that they've enjoyed that, being a little different. So we'll probably keep doing that until we continue to get more questions. We may go back and answer some old questions that got answered in our not live, that would confuse people, our real life in-person sermon series, because we do that every 6 to 12 weeks. In fact, we're coming up on that here pretty soon. That being said, how's your week been?
My week's been alright. It's been really relaxing, really intriguing. Long story short, I've applied for a position somewhere and ended up didn't getting it. So I've been kind of asking, God, what's the purpose behind this? Why am I still here? Is there a reason I didn't get it, or is there something better out there for me, or am I just waiting for something in my current job to kind of blossom? If that makes sense. So just kind of asking that. So I've just been waiting, just praying about it and seeing what's going on.
Were you really discouraged when you didn't get it at first?
Yeah, at first, because it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be discouraged.
Yeah. And that was a cool opportunity. So I get it.
Yeah, I loved it. I got to meet some awesome people. Got to talk to some really cool people, some friends that I know. But other than that, it is what it is. I can sit here and dwell on it, or I can just move on from it.
So when you ask yourself, why am I here? What do you mean by that?
Why am I in the current job that I'm at?
Why am I still here?
Yeah. Am I here for a greater reason? Am I here because there's something I'm missing, or something I'm not doing, or is there something within the company that I'm at that's waiting for me? Or is there another job out there somewhere that's gonna fall into my lap?
Because your personal desires are to be at a different job.
Yes, to be personal desires are to be to be a pastor.
Yeah, which you're headed to, and you're gonna be soon. So yeah.
Yeah, which church that I love. I love everyone in it. I love all the visitors. I love all the members. That's what I want to do. But currently, so I'm okay, is this waiting because of this, or is it I didn't get it because this is gonna open up, or I didn't get it because there's something currently at this job?
That's a cool way to look at it, though. That's a really positive way to look at it, instead of because I can tend to get negative and ask myself, why am I here, in the sense of this is terrible. And it sounds like you're kind of spinning it the positive way of man, what's the good in this? What's coming? Yeah. That's neat.
Yeah, because I thought about it, I work really early hours. I get off at 2:15 versus this other job I get off at 5. So think of it, that's 3 hours difference I can put in other areas.
Man, what a cool way to look at it. I really admire your positivity, for real. I've always liked that about you. I think that's why. So Austin, when he has a bad day, because we've all known him. When we got to know him, and I'm talking to them about you.
Yeah.
But he was always really positive and fun. And so, unfortunately, when you're a person with that kind of joy, that radiates that kind of happiness and joy, when you're down, people notice, right? And you get that a lot, right?
Very easily.
How does that make you feel when, I know you don't let people say, hey, are you grumpy? What's wrong? Or why aren't you your old self? Those kind of things. What's that been like for you? Do you see it as a positive, or is it more kind of beat you down?
Fleshly side beats me down. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I walk in, some of the first things I've heard from people is, "What's going on, Moby? Or why are you grumpy? Why you
funny.
like this?"
It's just the way you say
it. I'm man, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me, in a sense? What is Austin doing wrong? It's never okay, they don't care about me. They're just, I'm not doing something right in their eyes. So that's the kind of way I took it for the longest time, for a couple months actually. We talked about this, the mopey phase I had for months, and I'm man, what am I doing? But then I realized, on a positive side of it, it gives me something to look forward to, because being mopey all the time is just miserable. But being my old joyful stuff, I remember I was free, I was relaxed, I just didn't care in a sense, but I did.
Yeah, I know that has to be annoying, because that happened. I get that. I really do. One of the things I think is cool, though, is I also think it's a really good compliment to you, because let's say that's the way you were all the time. No one would say that. Yeah. People don't say to the grumpy guy, why are you grumpy today? Because they see the grumpy guy and they just go, well, he's grumpy because that's who he is. Yeah. For you, you are such a positive influence on people, and such a light, and such kind of you have a smile. You sort of just make people have fun, that I think it impacts them not having you around. And I don't mean to be corny or anything, but it's like taking the flashlight out of a dark room. It's now where's the light? Why is the light not on? So to encourage you, I think that's the reason people do it, because not everyone gets that. They really don't. So
Yeah, I didn't really see it like that at first. I always thought like they were like attacking me. I didn't view it as they were like caring for me. So like now that I kind of like understand that, it's not because they're trying to challenge me or attack me with it. It's because they actually care. So like the time I didn't see that, but now I kind of sit back. I'm like, okay, they really do care.
Yeah, they do, man. I know a lot of people care about you. You're one of those people that just. I don't know why this is too. I think. So, for instance, I hear so many positive things about you all the time. Literally, I was talking to a guy the other day, and it wasn't you weren't the topic. We were talking to someone else, and they said that they introduced you. I was like, man, Austin's a good guy. He goes, yeah, that's how I introduce Austin to everyone. I say, yeah, this will be the best guy you ever met. But they won't tell you that. So it's so weird. We won't tell each other nice things to our face, but we'll say the negatives. So then all we think people have towards us are those negatives.
Why is that? Like, why would you not tell someone that? Like, that right there just made my whole day. But then, like, I want to go to this person and be like, why didn't you tell me, bro?
Yeah.
Or girl, whoever it is.
I don't know. I feel like people are more uncomfortable sometimes with compliments than they are with criticisms.
Do you think it's because they don't get it that often in the world?
Yeah, it might be. Or that, yeah. I don't know. I've thought about that many times. It's almost like because the expectation is people are going to have a problem with you, that's the norm. But the expectation is not someone to just come up and randomly give you a compliment. So, I'm a words guy. So I try to do that a lot too. Especially when I'm in a good place. I love to encourage people. If I notice something, I thought a long time ago that if you make me mad and I know I'll say something to you, then when I think something good about you, I'm going to commit to saying that to you too. So when I do that sometimes, it's actually kind of hurtful because people will respond poorly. They will literally get uncomfortable being complimented. And if you go into it, what I've learned is you can't go into it expecting anything in return. You can't do it for that reason because you could get disappointed by the response. You do it just because it might encourage them. So I don't know, man. I don't know why we do that. It's just a negative world, I think. It reminds me of the verse that talks about let no unwholesome talk come from your mouth except that which is good and for the benefit and growing of the people around you. Paraphrasing, you know. Don't if it's not beneficial to the people around you, even criticisms. If I'm not saying something critical to you in order to help you, help our relationship, or better it, then why would I say it? That scripture is pretty much saying, do not use your mouth to tear people down just for the purpose of tearing them down.
Yeah.
I
You would think if people kind of really understand like who we are, that we're God's chosen, that we're His children, that we're His ones. Like we are, like, why are we so ashamed of taking compliments then? If we live up to that, we really understand who we are. We're heirs to the throne. We're high priests and priestesses. But yet we can't even take a compliment.
I think it's because that voice in our head is so loud, that liar, and I think that's why we've talked about this a lot. It's so important to have people in your life that you can be real with and share those lies who are going to remind you of the truth. It's so crazy that God knows that most importantly we need Him and we need to rely on His truth. But He also says we need each other because sometimes we need that reminder, I'm going to have a day where I hate myself or I see only the negative. And you've done this to me like a month ago. I was feeling kind of down about people, maybe, let's say people in the community that have a negative thought of me. And you said, hey, Todd, but look at all the people here, who love you. And that simple thing is such a powerful reminder. But if you hadn't been there, if I didn't have someone in my life that could do that, then I go the rest of my day focusing on that stuff.
Because I remember that was at basketball too. We talked about that because I was kind of...
Yeah, I was really down actually. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I think I like this. I like that this leads to that because, what if, I love what ifs. What if we lived in a world, the church even, where we committed to saying the positive about each other at least as much as the negative? What if because my mouth is both my biggest blessing and biggest curse in a way, because the Lord's enabled me to speak sometimes, but also because I'm verbal, my mouth is a weapon. And so sometimes I think to myself, man, like I want to catch that. I really want to live out of that. And I caught myself last week actually at volleyball. There was a time where I'm like, I'm not going to say this. There's no point in saying this. And if we could catch ourselves doing that and only say things that are beneficial, what would that do to a culture?
I don't know, because like what you talked about, like what if we did live in a world that would all talk in like positive affirmation? But here's the crazier part. What if we believed it was true? Instead of just like actually just being words.
Yeah.
Like even like this, like who we are, like I say to you, hey man, I appreciate you. Like, what if we believed when someone said something good about us if it was actually true, without
Yeah.
a doubt?
Because we'll believe the bad.
Yeah.
Like, we'll so easily believe the bad. But
Yep.
if you say something good, I'm like, yeah. Because even I'm terrible. I love giving compliments. I'm terrible taking them. I'm like, oh, thanks for thinking that. Even though
I'm the exact
Yeah.
same way.
it's almost like, clearly you're wrong. But I'm glad that you think that, you know? That's
Yeah.
weird. That's cool, man. So I'm glad, yeah. And thanks for sharing that, because I think that brought up some good stuff for people.
Yeah, definitely. So, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. I think I shared this last week. You know this. I had a period. So I shared this Sunday. Here's what I've learned. Anxiety, I don't like the word. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. The word anxiety to me is, I feel like, almost overused. It's almost like anytime we don't want to give to other people, we don't want to love other people, we can say we're anxious sometimes. So or it's an excuse to not do something we're supposed to do. That's how I was raised in my mind. Like, we didn't talk about anxiety in my household, right? It was like, suck it up and move on. What I've learned, though, is I've gone through a period of anxiety. You know this the last few weeks. But because of the way I was raised, I don't feel... So if you say, Todd, are you stressed? I will almost never say I'm stressed. I won't. But what happens is, and what I've learned is, even from scientists and have done studies on this, your mind cannot be stressed consciously. Okay? So like, maybe I'm not stressed. But subconsciously, I am so stressed that my body begins to get anxious, right? So, all that to say, I've had this period where my body was kind of like, you need to slow down and you need to take care of yourself. And I didn't realize until I was going through all this that I have to start really focusing on getting... I don't want to say my stuff because I don't like that excuse. I don't think it's either or, but I do think I've kind of put myself to the... I don't want to say burnt myself out, maybe a little bit, but I don't even like that phrase. But I need to be wiser, let me put it that way, with my own health, you know, making sure I'm getting rest. You know, that's a scriptural thing, and I've been disobedient to that. You're supposed to take a Sabbath, a day of rest, you know, whatever that looks like, and I don't do that. And so I've learned a lot. I feel like I've kind of had to slow down the last few weeks, which has been helpful in some ways, because I certainly can't keep going the way I've been going in a lot of areas. And I live in a lot of fear, I think, subconsciously too, that if I slow down, I don't know, there's these irrational thoughts of things will be taken away, or like, you can't get comfortable, Ty, because if you get comfortable and let yourself relax, that's when something bad happens. Like, that's the way my mind works sometimes. And some of that is a product of, you know, I don't want to get too real, but like, just some of the stuff from my past and the way, you know, some abuse type stuff or whatever. But I think I live in that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know it's probably a lot.
No,
and I've also had caffeine for the first time in a long time last night and today, so I'm all over the place.
No, it's awesome. Like, I know, yeah, you shared a lot about your week with that, but one thing, like, I really appreciate is, like, the fact that you're starting to recognize stuff more. I know you have before, but, like, you tend to say more, be like, hey, I recognize what I was doing, I need to fix it. It's like what you shared about the whole volleyball thing. Like, there was no point in me saying that. Like, the same thing with, like, anxiety or, like, fear, like, recognizing it, even though, like, subconsciously doing it can change everything. Like, when you say, I'm not stressed out, but then in reality you are, you kind of recognize that you are, and you kind of just take a second and just take a break. And you do a lot, like, every single day of the week. Like, your job's 7 days a week.
You know what's messed up, though, is I still feel lazy. I still feel like I'm not doing enough. And that's why I think I don't let myself rest, because I don't know. I have this thing in my mind. I don't know who that voice is that's telling me I'm lazy, and I'm trying to prove to that voice that I am that it's never enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like those lies that we talked about. Like, that thing, it's like, man, you're not good enough. So, like, if you take a day of rest, you tell yourself, man, I'm being lazy today. And you go challenge it. In reality, you're supposed to be resting and taking a day. So, like, just kind of recognizing that and actually just doing stuff and living out, like, is so awesome. And just being, like, gives you a chance to just, like, breathe.
Yeah. And the other thing, like I said, so that's definitely part of it. And then that weird thought of the recognition that I live my life afraid to relax because I'm afraid of what will happen. It's almost like I'm not allowed to have good things happen. I'm not allowed to relax, because if I relax, that's when that punch out of nowhere is going to come. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that was interesting to kind of catch too in my life. I had a thought when I was back to anxiety that I think is interesting. So I had someone the other day who also struggles with anxiety, and a friend of mine, and he said, he goes, yeah, he goes, I don't understand that. That seems almost cruel though, where the verse that says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything through prayer and petition, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will envelop your mind in Christ Jesus. I think there's a misunderstanding. Okay, so for instance, I'm telling you right now, I could not control the physical response that my body was doing. Okay, the fight or flight, the anxiety. Yeah. But here's what I know. Was I doing everything the Lord told me to do before it got to that point? No. I can tell you right now I wasn't. So first of all, I'm already, it's almost like God says, Todd, every day you should drink water or you're going to cramp. And then I start cramping and I'm like, why is this happening? Well, part of it is because I didn't drink the water. I didn't do what the Lord told me to do. But the second thing is, what if that verse is not about, because he said, do not be anxious. It's not necessarily about that feeling of anxiety. It's about living out of the anxiety. Right? So anxiety is really fear. Okay, I'll try to explain. So like when you're anxious, you are actually afraid. You can't maybe necessarily control when you're afraid. If there's a lion in this room and he's hungry, you and I can be the bravest guys in the world, but we're going to be a little frightened, right?
Oh yeah.
But there's a difference between laying on the ground and just sitting there waiting for it to kill us and then trying to get out. One is living out of that fear. One is overcoming it. And I'm wondering if that verse is saying, when you feel that, you can't control what you feel because you're human. There's going to be times you're anxious, you're scared. But that's why he constantly says, do not be afraid. Do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you, right? Yeah. The point is not so much not feeling the anxiety. It's about the response to the anxiety. Because anxiety makes, at least me, I don't know about you, makes you self-focused, self-obsessed. Those are all contrary. Makes you... Typically, you don't go to the Lord as much because you're so afraid of focused on yourself. And if you think about that, it's the complete opposite of what we're supposed to do. Does that make sense, or am I rambling?
No, that makes a lot of sense. It like kind of puts things together because like when you're like anxious, you're only worried about yourself in a sense. So like you're worried about what's gonna happen to you. Like you're not.
It's all about you.
Yeah.
Or yourself.
Like,
yeah.
Anxiety is such a weird thing. Like I know, like I'm not gonna share too much, but like when you talk to like anxiety about someone, they're always like, this is making me anxious, this is making me, this is making me.
That's it.
And
it's
all
syndrome.
about like reaching out and like doing stuff because you're being selfish in a way. Like not
if you live out of it. Yes.
You're being self-consciously like selfish, and that's kind of weird to say. It puts like a weird taste on my tongue.
It sounds mean.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like I'm
but
being
it's
harsh.
True because we do it.
Because when does that become an excuse?
Yes.
This is making me anxious, I'm not going to do it. You're making me anxious, don't do that. And yeah, you really just don't want them to do it.
That's true. Or you don't want to do something you're supposed to do. Yeah. So I don't want to go, let's say to church today. I don't want to go, this person needs me. I've heard this before. So I have a commitment I'm supposed to do, but that makes me anxious. I don't want to do it. And it's like, I don't think that's an out.
Yeah. Anxiety is such a weird thing because for people who like actually deal with anxiety, like they're kind of trapped in like this little box and they can't get out even though they want to get out. And then the people who say they're anxious use that as an excuse. They're trying to like put themselves in that box when they like are already out of it. That's when it comes like the me self-centered type thing. And like I'm not saying in any way like anyone I know who's dealt with anxiety it was like that, but I'm saying that can be like so self-centered and it's so weird how that like puts together. Like I know like you weren't like that at all when you were talking about your anxiety, which that's what I appreciate because like you were like, man, I'm really anxious. What do I need to do? And like it wasn't all like me-centered. You weren't like that at all.
Yeah. But it's the temptation is for it to be that way because you almost get into this, at least I get into this mindset that I am, that I have to take care of me because no one else is going to, including God. Yeah. Right? So then I start doing what makes me feel safe. And sometimes what makes me feel safe is not the same thing that, well, certainly what makes me feel safe usually isn't what the Lord wants me to do. Right? Because that's just how it goes. So
is that moment when we're playing God? Like we're trying to take control of something we have no control over? Like we're trying to do what's best for us.
Dude, that's good.
Instead of like us asking God, like, hey, what can you do to get me out of this? We try to take it in our own hands and we tend to play God with anxiety. because there's so many songs that I can think of, like Zach Williams' "Fear Is a Liar," one of my favorite songs.
That is a great song.
And then there's another song like it says, "Even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, like, your perfect love is casting out fear, and I will fear no evil, for my God is with me." So it's it's giving me goosebumps right now just thinking about that. There's so much stuff talking about fear and anxiety, because anxiety is just fear that we use as an excuse to get out of things. Because we're using anxiety because we're afraid, and we're afraid because we don't know what to do, and because we're afraid we don't know what to do, the anxiety gives us center focus around me. It's anxiety, not anxiety.
Ooh, no, you're good at that's good. That's good. Not anxiety me. I like that. Well, that was really good, man. I think this was really beneficial. So, overall, guys, I guess what we can kind of take from this is, you can't control if you feel anxiety. I don't think always.
Yeah.
Although I think there are things we can do to prevent it coming. I do think that if we fully trust God, I do think if we, fill our minds with His truth, like He says in His Word daily, if we're in prayer, if we're in community, that those things will help mitigate that. And since sometimes it still hits, if that happens, how do you respond? Do you let the anxiety of me control you, or do we still live out of who God has told us to be?
So good, because we can't control if we get anxiety. We can just control how we respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
It's good.
I like that. This is so good and so beneficial. Even I don't feel like I suffer from anxiety a lot. Well, I know if I'm afraid, I can be really selfish because I don't want to do that. Even if it's
You want to self-protect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always worried and scared, but yet I shouldn't be.
I get it, man. I get it. A lot of times, yeah, I get it. I'll leave that at that. I think that was great. Hopefully that encouraged you guys. I know that left me with a lot to think about today.
Me too.
Hey, you're not alone in feeling anxiety. If you're a person out there and you struggle with anxiety, we both just confessed to you that we have moments of that. And then we have moments of failure, and that it makes us be selfish. The one thing I want to encourage you to remember is that God has promised. He did not promise that we wouldn't have anxiety, but He promised that He'll be there with us through it, that we don't have to live out of anxiety. That verse is so powerful, and we say this all the time. If one part of it is true, it's all true. When God says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, through prayer and petition, and He's going to Him, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will envelop your minds in Christ Jesus. That's a beautiful thing, and God loves you. You're not alone. There's people around you. You need to find people around you that love you too, and share those things, because the other verse that always comes to mind is carry each other's burdens, and this way you fulfill the law of Christ. Yeah. We need to be able to share those anxieties. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm anxious, I will wait until, like I said, I don't feel stressed, but I'll wait until the very last moment to share with you that I'm over, and I'm already freaking out by then, versus if I just say, hey, I'm having this weird kind of feeling. So find some people around you that you can share that with,
Absolutely.
Other than that, we really appreciate you. Have anything to say before we...
I'm just excited to be a part of this. This is my first web series episode, so it was actually a really good one. I really liked it, not because I was a part of it, but just really good conversation, really good thoughts, stuff I can learn from this. Definitely a lot of areas I can grow. I'm just really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I love this. That's what I love about this. It lets people in on the conversations that we have. We have these kind of conversations.
Yeah, all the time.
Sometimes we can get so busy that we don't let ourselves sit down and just walk out of this encouraged. So hopefully this encouraged you guys. Hopefully you can take something out about anxiety, which we didn't even plan on really, but I think it's a great lesson, and about the encouragement, right? I think if we had to pick a theme for today, it would be the way we use our mouth, encouraging others, and anxiety. And I think hopefully that encourages you guys. If this blessed you in any way, would you do us a huge favor, and would you join us in this ministry by liking this video and sharing it? If you haven't liked our page, go up to the page above, the Remnant Church, click it, hit like, follow, and see first. I'm pretty sure, so it pops up on your feed. The more likes that we get, the more people it reaches. It's just the way the Facebook algorithm works. So for all those that watch regularly, thank you so much, truly, for supporting our ministry, and for being a part of the ministry and asking questions, commenting, all those types of things. If you want to donate to this ministry, you can give at any time from your phone right now at www.theremnant.live/give. The link will be up on the video as well. Other than that, we will be going live this week. Have we decided on a time yet? I don't think we did.
No, we have not.
So we'll post that. But we're going live. We're going to have some special guests again. We're going to have another person that's never been on. That'll be interesting. I haven't talked to you about this yet. You'll like this. It'll probably be 3 people again. It'll probably be me, Austin, and this person. But I'm excited because it will be hilarious.
Is it who I think it is?
Yeah, I don't know. But
If it is, things are really going to heat up in this episode.
well played. That is exactly who it is. That's your hint. Things are going to get real hot and spicy. Anyway, so hey, join us this Thursday. We'll post. It'll be either 8:30 or 9 for our live episode. Other than that, one more reminder. Up above on the link, www.theremnant.live/real-talk. That link is live 24/7, 365. Click it if you have any kind of topic you'd like to see us talk about. Could be even stuff going on in the world today, whatever, questions, and we'll probably talk about it in this episode or the live one. Other than that, we hope you guys have a great day, and God bless you.